We're back on a busy day, man. Phillies put up a 10 spot. Eagles have Miami coming up, but Sixers in the news as well. And we appreciate our next guest hopping on very short notice as he does. We always appreciate his contributions to the show, and he does an excellent job covering the team for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and that would be our friend Keith Pompey. Keith, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you guys doing? Hey, look, you know what's funny though?
What?
So just because I see Derek laughing. So today's my daughter's birthday, like her 13th birthday.
Oh,
so it's like a milestone birthday.
That's a big,
right?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I normally don't like doing it, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna take off today, is right, and I'm just gonna, wife and I, we're gonna do stuff for the daughter, this and that, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey babe,
we've all been there.
Stuff to do before she gets home from school. Before my daughter gets home from school, it's like it's always something, you know.
Man, I know. We are, aren't we? We're in the age of 24/7, man.
Yes.
We really are 365. That is for sure, Keith. We won't keep you long. It's a big day. We know that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to your daughter. By the way.
Oh, thank you. Sure, appreciate it.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to make that call and cancel plans for a family event or going to see a kid's game, reroute a birthday party. It's, luckily we're blessed to have wives who understand, because there's a lot of people in our industry, stuff like that causes a lot of tension. But
yes, sir.
But luckily we're blessed to have, as frustrating as it can be, wives that understand what we go through.
Well said, D-Gun. All right, so Keith, Harden is not at practice today.
Mm-hmm.
He was not at shoot around on Monday. So I guess I want to kind of work back a touch. Did they think he was going to be at shoot? Even we knew he wasn't playing in the game. Did they think he was going to be at shoot around? Had they had any contact with him? Did they know this was coming, or is this out of the blue?
Yeah, I don't think they expected him to be at shoot around because, Joel Embiid wasn't there either, right? It was one of those things where, Harden was at practice. Like, Harden was at practice on Sunday. The team hops on the train. They're going to have a shoot around on Monday. He's already cleared from that game, and they were going to be off on Tuesday. Okay. So you look at it as, okay, we're going to give this guy 2 days off. He'll come back on today, Wednesday, and he'll ramp it up, as they say, to get prepared. So where they were caught off guard was the fact that he just didn't show up today. You know what I mean? Because Joel Embiid and him both had Monday and Tuesday off. The team had Tuesday off, but he and Joel had Monday off as well.
But not just showing up, but he's back in Houston.
Yeah,
He's just. I mean, did this? You're there with the team, and from what you can gather, did the Sixers any way, shape, or form feel that this could be mended in any way?
I think they do. I think that James said it can't, right? But when you look at it, if you walk in the gym and you see how James is working out with the assistant coach, Rico Hines, who he's had a relationship with. There are several other coaches who were in the Houston Rockets system who James had a relationship with. They're all laughing, they're joking, at least when the media comes in, right? So it's one of those things where you look at it and you say, well, there's nobody else really interested in besides the Clippers. Maybe we could wear James down. You know what I mean? Like one of those things, like, you keep nudging. He sees how everything could be great. And then he feels like, hey, you know what? This might be my best chance to win a championship or to get paid next year by playing here. So I feel like that they, in the back of their heads, some of them might have said, nah, I know James enough. But I think that by the way that he was acting, that they felt as if that this could be something that could be repairable.
Keith, how much of this is, and you tell me, I mean, somebody like Woj or somebody else puts something out saying they're still far apart with the Clippers or whatever, and then James simply just reacting to something like that. Is it that, am I simplifying things a little bit too much with where things are right now?
It could be. I mean, like I did a story this weekend. I spoke to a source who close to the situation, somebody who knows. And the guy told me, he was like, look, Keith, the Clippers are doing their part. They want to make this happen quick, fast, in a hurry. Daryl Morey is the one holding it up. So if you're like James Harden and you're looking and you're reading stuff like this, or you see stuff, then you think like, yo, hold up. The Clippers want to make a deal.
Mm-hmm.
What are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can see him seeing stuff from the media and making it go that way. And let's face it, James came back and he was the perfect teammate. Why? Because he wanted to get traded. That's the best way. And then if you're not going to get traded, then sometimes I guess you have to reassess things and try to make a way to where you are, where you can get traded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see, Keith, we hear that the Clippers and the Sixers are still far apart. Now, what I would like to know, and I don't know how much insight you have on this, what the heck are the Sixers asking? Because if I'm the Clippers, I'm thinking, I'm not giving you anything that's going to make us worse, even if you want us to take James Harden. Now, we have a certain nucleus that can't be touched. You got to work within that parameter.
Yeah. The one guy who I talked to, he doesn't think that when I talked to him and I asked him a question, I said, do you think the Sixers are serious? And he said, I don't. He doesn't think they're serious, because the thing is, the one person that they like, okay, for instance, what the Sixers want, and a source told me what the Clippers are willing to offer are expiring contracts. So the Sixers want to make this push next season. They also want to offer the Sixers, first round picks, but really a pick swap, because the Sixers don't want the Clippers draft picks because they don't think the draft picks are going to be that good. Mm-hmm. But what the Sixers do want is they'll take a pick swap, but they want 2 firsts, but they want them from a different team. Like they want them to be good enough first round draft picks to where they can give to a team that will be able to bring in an all-star level type player, right? Mm-hmm. So, but the Sixers also keep getting caught up on Terrence Mann. And from my source told me that they're not giving up Terrence Mann. And the Sixers know that. And it's like, why would you want Terrence Mann? Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So from that point, it's kind of like, I guess you can say they feel like that they're asking for stuff that they know they're not going to get, if that makes sense.
Because they really don't want to move them.
Because they don't want to move them. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, does Morey really think that James Harden's going to play ball here and be a good soldier, Keith? I mean, we know he's not that guy. Like, why is Daryl? Is he just he just can't see the forest through the trees with this?
Could be. I mean, I think that. But also I think it's bigger than that. I think that, like, it's one of those things where right now, can you afford, like, this Sixers, the championship window is getting ready to close, right? And can you afford to get rid of James Harden for what you consider a bag of peanuts? And then all of a sudden people are looking at you like, you're the one who brought him in here, and you could have gotten more for Ben Simmons a year ago or 2 years ago. And now you traded essentially Ben Simmons for a guy who you got expiring contracts and late first round picks for. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when you talk about that, it's one of those things where he is under the sense like, I got to win this thing, or I got to make a pretty good deal. You know what I mean? And then you think about it, the longer you wait, let's just say it, like the longer you wait, a team could possibly get desperate and say, okay, we'll give you what you want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like right now, you don't want to like just get rid of the guy for the sake of getting rid of him, and then everybody's going to look at Daryl. Like, I think Daryl's in a tough spot right now.
Mm. But isn't that what it's going to come down to? Basically, I think Harden's got him over a barrel. No, if I'm a team out there and the Sixers call me, my mindset has to be they're in a desperation mode. This thing has become so public. They're in a desperation mode. We don't have to negotiate with them fairly because they're between a rock and a hard place. They got to get rid of this dude because they're stuck with egg on their face. He's not going to play for them. We can give them lesser to get him.
I agree 100%. I do. I agree 100%. And, it could, because that's what James is hoping. But you know what? I agree with you. But I also think the best thing that can happen to the Sixers is if that James Harden decides to stay away, right? And the reason being is, like, if James Harden says, I stay away, you know what? You could possibly fine him. You can do whatever you want. But if he stays away, I don't even know if I would fine him because I want him to continue to stay. But if he stays away, if moving forward for the culture of the team, if you're Nick Nurse, you won't have that distraction. You can go ahead and you can try to, like the guys who are there, you can try to get an offense and system with them. And then behind closed doors, you're working out a deal to get rid of James. The moment that James shows back up, because he's telling you that I'm about to make things uncomfortable. The moment he makes things uncomfortable and he shows up, then all the things you talking about, we got to wait it out, we got to do this, we got to do that, you definitely lost it because James is just going to make it as uncomfortable as possible. So if I'm the Sixers, stay away, James. Stay in Houston. We're not going to find you. We're not going to do anything because the moment he comes back, it could get ugly.
Well, do you, Keith, you're there every day. How has Nick Nurse sort of traversed this thing so far? Like, how has he handled it? You know, isn't it a totally different deal if he's not running the offense? Like, how has he handled everything sort of day to day here? And we're not that far away from real games, too. I mean, what's there, one preseason game left?
I think under the circumstances, Nick has done a great job. I really have. I mean, I felt like, his personality, the way he's doing things. You know, he had a talk with James before the first practice as James showed up. But I feel like Nick is the right guy for this just because, you know, he's going at it with two mindsets. We're going at it like, hey, if James plays, he plays. We work something out. If James doesn't play, we're going to work on some other things. We have a different offense. And then also I think that the fact that Nick has been in the G League, that he's played overseas, he's been dealing with these type of distractions before, like not knowing who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. So I felt like Nick's done a great job. And let's face it, Nick Nurse's job isn't the one that's on the line over this. He's a new coach. He's inherited this situation. So it's not him. He can go ahead and coach whatever. Look, if the team, if James makes this a huge distraction, we're not going to say, oh my gosh, Nick Nurse blew a lead. Nick Nurse did that. Oh, the team is like they're below 500 or they're the fifth seed. No, it's going to go on Daryl Morey. So I think Nick is handling it well, and not only that, there's no pressure on Nick Nurse.
I'm waiting to see because you know it's coming. I'm waiting to see for Embiid to get tired of being asked all the questions about this, and he speaks his mind as he did with Ben Simmons finally when they were going through that mess with Ben Simmons. That's when to me that's the telling tale of what this season could look like once Joel speaks out about this.
Yeah, you're exactly right because that's the telling tale of the also not just this season, but it could be the future of the organization because. Yes. You know, once Joel gets fed up or he says the things that everybody expect him to say, then all of a sudden there's going to be other teams around the league talking about, hey, look, are y'all ready to get rid of Joel? And we got the assets to help you guys reboot. You know what I mean? So that's not just this season. It's the future. Once Joel says what he says, you know, the Sixers will learn the direction that I'm moving forward.
All right, we promise we get you in and out of here quick, Keith. So go celebrate the birthday and whatever else craziness comes.
Well, it's over. I feel sorry for her, but we'll be all right.
Hey, I promise you, I'll try in the future not to hit you at the last minute. The last two times.
Anytime. Yeah, anytime. Like I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I really do.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Thanks. Have a great day. All right, Keith.
Right.
Take care,
Thanks,
man.
Y'all.
All right, appreciate it. That is Keith Pompey. Always a great read. Always the pulse on what's going on with the team. And if you can follow him on Twitter X at Pompey on Sixers. That's how you follow him. And of course, his work is at theinquirer.com. So check him out.
Real quick, speaking of Harden, so I told you I was going to reach out to try to find more about it over an hour ago. Yeah. So I reached out with somebody close to the team. And I said, hey, man, I said, man, what's up with your boy Harden, man? What's he doing? And I said, you need to get on top of this. And they text me back and they said, D-Gun, I'm away. I was away at a funeral. What are you talking about?
No.
I sent him the
Oh, that
picture.
he didn't even know this person. Didn't even know what was going on.
And
Oh
this
my
is
God.
this is the person that's in the know about everything that goes on.
Jeez.
So he goes, "What?" He goes, "I'm just now reading this message." Oh. He goes, "I'll get back to you later." Like, so I've heard back from him yet.
Wow. Oh, can you imagine? Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
But here's the thing, Derek, you had to know this was coming. If you're the Sixers organization, he wasn't going to play nice. He's never played nice anywhere. Even if we look at it, you and I can sit here on the outside and say, it makes sense for him to be a good soldier, go in there and play well. Everybody sees that he's dedicated to this year, even in a tough spot. Let's make a trade. Let's get him. Blah, 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 blah. Right? I'll give up more to get him. He doesn't care. When pride gets in the way, and I think we're seeing pride with James and pride with Daryl Morey now. I really do. I think it's both of them.
If it's pride on Morey's part, then his superiors need to tell him, hold up, check yourself at the front door.
Agreed.
This is out of control. Put aside your personal feelings and get this done any way, shape, or form. James Harden told you back in July exactly what his stance was.
Yep.
Did the organization in any way, shape, or form think that time heals all wounds, as the old saying goes? This wound is constantly festering. There is no tourniquet. There is no stitches that can sew this wound up. There is no modern medical technology that can put a bandage on this wound. This is an open sore. Oh, it's not going to heal unless you move this man. Yeah. You should have moved him a long time ago. But see, James messed it up by taking the stance that he did because, as I said back in July and August, when he opened his mouth and said, I am emphatically not playing for this team, any potential suitor said, you know what, we have the Sixers right where we want them because we don't have to negotiate on fair ground with them. We have the upper hand. How bad do you want to move them?
You're exactly
sorry,
right.
This is all we got to offer for you. I can't do this. No, we can't do that. Do you really want to move them? Take it or leave it.
Yeah, you're right. You are right, sir. All right, so a couple things. JT Real Muto has been named a finalist for the Gold Glove, the Rawlings Gold Glove Award at catcher. So well-deserved, considering his defensive exploits. Also, Julio Jones meeting with the media, Derek, as we speak.
Uh-huh.
And Eagles fans will eat this up. He says he'll do whatever the team needs him to do, but also notes, I'm here to dominate. Don't get it twisted.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Good for you. I like that mindset. All right. Let's see you do it. How many times we see a lot of players talk the talk, and then once you walk the walk, take baby steps. Who knows? Maybe he can. I guarantee you one thing: if he starts becoming a primary target, I expect the cameras to hone in on the sideline again and catch certain people frustrated. That's the last thing you want.
I agree with you. So, there's two things to pop up for me. One, if there was still a lot of gas left in the tank, why wasn't he on a roster anywhere? Yep. Right. And okay, maybe teams just misjudged what happened last year. Okay. In Tampa, whatever. And the other thing is he might dress this week.
Okay. You can put in a few routes for him. That might work. When you as a coaching staff sit down and you start sizing up the pluses and minuses of who you're about to face, you bring in a guy with the wealth of experience like a Julio, you can automatically have him run 2 or 3 different routes in a crash course. Remember, a lot of offenses are similar. It's just a different terminology. It doesn't take that long for them to pick up the terminology. And they may make a mistake, like a false start somewhere along the line, but you can correct those in games. There might be some simple routes that he can run where he could possibly dominate. Now, I don't think if he catches the ball 2 or 3 times, that's considered domination. If he gets 10, 12, 15 catches for $150 and helps his team win, oh, yeah, that's domination. Mm-hmm. But I can't see that out of the gate. Not in a game like this. This is a fast-track game, and I can't see them giving him more than simple plays to get himself acclimated. Now, next week, you open up the playbook even more so. But for this week, if he plays, which is interesting considering he's been sitting at home all this time, and you might throw him in the mix right away.
Well, I mean, Quez. So you have Quez right now on the IR. Yeah, if I'm Zacchaeus, I'm kind of saying like,
hey, what about me?
What about me? Give me a little chance here. But maybe like it's just a red zone package or something else you give Julio and he gets 3 snaps. It could be something that's simple.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think he would be a big addition to help fixing their red zone inconsistencies. Big body, sure-handed, runs a great route tree when he runs. I could definitely see him being that additional red zone threat, but we won't know until Sunday night. And if it's not more fluid Sunday night, it's the same old questions we're talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday through Friday of next week. What is wrong with this red zone offense?
Right. I know I'm going back, ping-ponging back and forth, but back to the Sixers. Joel Embiid said he's feeling better and he plans to play in the preseason finale, and said he didn't know why James Harden isn't there. Now, the reason I bring the last part of it up is something that you mentioned earlier, and we've talked about quite a bit. What's going to happen is, and I, by the way, I agree with Keith. I think the better thing is for James Harden just to stay away than come here and just take out a flame torch. But the problem is these guys are going to be asked about it, and it's going to get old. Especially you lose a game. Hey, would you have won if James Harden played? Do you miss James Harden? What's going on? And these guys are like, dude, I'm just trying to play. I'm trying to win. I'm playing with the guys who are here. That stuff gets old to a player. It gets old to a coach after a while. And this is part of what you're dealing with right now. This is why this should have been taken care of before we got to this point, Derek. I just, to me, Daryl Morey's done a very poor job since he's gotten here. He hasn't made a difference. With this team. Since he's gotten here.
No. When sometimes you got to know, what's that old song? Got to know when to hold them and when to fold them.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Sometimes you got to punt, man. I mean, honestly, and if it means you're going to get a little bit less than you anticipated getting, so be it. I feel like we're at that point. Like, it seems like Morey is still dug in. He either is still dug in that I have to get this value and I'm not budging, or I really hope James just sticks around and we can kind of play out the year with him. Like, neither one seemed feasible here to me.
I think it's more so, are we getting value on the dollar? I think it's more so that. But when you go back to all of the rumors we heard about them negotiating with Phoenix and the Clippers and Cleveland and how those teams bowed out real quick, it told me one thing: the Sixers are asking for way too much in return. And number two, there has to be some hesitancy in those teams' parts. Do we really want James Harden here based on his recent track history? Not just in Philadelphia, but getting out of Houston, getting out of Brooklyn, and now trying to get his way out of Philadelphia. Do we really need this here?
Right.
Because you look at all three of those teams are playoff caliber teams.
It's true.
You don't want somebody coming in and being disruptive, because then that media and that fan base is coming down on you. It looks good. Hey, when James Harden was traded from Brooklyn to here, man, people were applauding the Sixers left and right. Great move. We were among them. Great move. Get James Harden here. All of a sudden, it slowly deteriorated just like it did other places.
I'm awake. Are you? Well, Simmons did recently say he wants to come back. No,
that ain't happening.
Can we preemptively just nip that one? No, thank you. Okay. No. But I did get a kick. I said this to Tone yesterday. I got a kick out of what the Nets social media people, because he had like 8 points against the Sixers in a preseason game. He's back. Oh, he's back. Yeah, okay. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, no, it's a situation where the Sixers have painted themselves into a corner, and now they can't move. Now you're just kind of looking around like, all right, I can't really do anything. Nobody wants them, and we want value back. Everybody knows we have to trade them. No one knows it's a mess.
And man.
Here you go, and we're caught in this no man's land. All right, let's get a timeout here, D-Gun, and we come back. We'll talk to our guy, the Brooksy, the pork chop, BCB, Barrett Brooks himself will be joining the program when we come back. We'll talk Eagles. We'll talk NFL. We'll talk about his new look, the whole nine. We'll do all those kind of things when we come back. If we have time at the end, we will still do our traditional birthdays and movies if we can get them in. If we don't, we don't. That's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take. We'll be right back with Barrett Brooks.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We were big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.